Hello my loves, and welcome back to my channel. This week I am giving you part 2 of the video series, What is the Soft Boss Era? As you know, I have been on a roll really understanding and diving into what does it take to run a business that makes a lot of money and also doesn't compromise your dream lifestyle. Because a lot of the time in the hustle culture that we live in today, we feel we have to sacrifice our joy, our pleasure, and ease in order to create success and money. However, that is not the case anymore. Maybe back in the day, but today we have so many resources at our disposal, and we have the tools of understanding how to think better thoughts so we can produce higher quality effort and activities and not have to hustle our way to create results. And that is why I am creating this whole ass series on teaching you how to do business without hustle for all of my business girlies who want to create an abundant experience in life. Here's the thing, I don't believe that there is such a thing as a work-life balance as an entrepreneur, because the reality is you have a life, period, and inside of that life are things like your business / your career, your social life, your family, your relationships, your spiritual wellness, your mental wellness, all the things. And when you are an entrepreneur, it is so important for you to understand that your life is your life and your business really is just a portion of your life. And if you can learn to do business in a less hustly way and release your hustle identity, then you're going to be able to experience abundance in that area too. And because you are an entrepreneur, when you experience abundance through business, your life quality improves, because then your business gets to make more money and you don't have to sacrifice your happiness, your joy, or even your time to make it work for you. So that is why I'm teaching on this, because I have been in this process for years, developing, conceptualizing, and being my own guinea pig as I uncover the Business Without Hustle program concepts that I'm going to be releasing in my new program. So enjoy this part 2, and if you haven't yet caught up on part 1 of What is the Soft Boss Era, you can check it out in the playlist of this specific video. Alright my loves, I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye! Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Nicole, a life and business coach for high-functioning women. I'm a self-proclaimed foodie, content creator, educator, and your new abundance bestie. In my world, we talk about all things to do with elevating your life. I post weekly videos helping the everyday woman embody her highest self, create inner wealth, master her mindset, unlock her femininity, and be an absolute boss in life. I create resources, trainings, and host experiences online and in person in order to help you reconnect to your true self. Not the one you think you need to be, but the you that you were born to be. So you can reclaim your power and amplify your voice to lead, love, and create as a woman. If you like my vibe and you want a little bit more abundance in your life, hit subscribe to be notified whenever I drop a new episode. And be sure to check out the free resources in the description below. In terms of like money and worth, in this category of secure self-concept and identity, it's about working through your own money and scarcity beliefs so that you're not sabotaging your financial success. Because if you are insufficient in your money identity, meaning you don't believe that you are worthy of more, or you are afraid of having more money unconsciously, then you're going to behave in a way that aligns to that. I teach this a lot in my money programs, because when you are believing a certain thing, it's going to show up in your actions. So you're going to unconsciously get rid of all the money, even if you made more of it this month, because it's so unfamiliar. Or you're going to find a way to get yourself back to baseline broke, which is what you're familiar with, because you've not increased your threshold and capacity to have more. You're so used to having nothing. So not doing the work is the opposite of soft boss, and that's why again we create more space. So having that space for soul care and self-care, taking care of your mind, your body, your emotional health, and thinking about your thoughts, thinking about your behaviors, thinking about what emotions you're identifying with. This space is necessary in the soft boss era. We can't just be doing doing and not mindfully reflecting and pivoting and changing and adjusting. Otherwise, we get back on that hamster wheel and we just end up in the hustle cycle. And we wonder why things haven't changed, why our business results are still the same, or why it's feeling more exhaustive, even with more time and more clarity, even with more support, it still feels exhaustive. It all comes down to these intangibles that I'm saying right now. Another thing with money and worth is you're not tying yourself or your financial income or business performance. Sorry, you're not tying your worth to your financial income or business performance. My brain just totally lapsed there. Because when you are in your insecure identity, again, the opposite of secure, then what you're latching onto is metrics and circumstances. But when you are secure, your circumstances and your metrics are just results. They're just byproducts of actions you've taken, beliefs you've adopted, and thoughts you've consistently thought. So it's really finding your flow with regularly growing yourself and learning and adopting a beginner's mindset about your own self-concept and your self-identity, and perhaps even getting around, again, mentors, women, people who can support you, because receiving and asking for help is a good thing. And so the soft boss era recognizes all of these things, and that's how you can bring your soft boss era into fruition in that avenue of secure self-concept and identity. The second category is the ability to self-regulate, self-manage, and evaluate your focus and energy. And you'll notice how a lot of these are self-focused, because again, they are intrinsic work, are the under the iceberg work, if we're using that analogy, in business that keeps your business going and sustaining in the long run. So in this category, we're talking about emotional intelligence and self-regulation. We're talking about self-management and your time, focus, and scheduling. So in this category, a soft boss looks like not letting your emotions get the best of you and still being able to show up for your commitments without neglecting how you feel. Just like this morning, how I was like so tired physically, emotionally I was like, I just don't want to do anything today. I just wanted to chuck a fit because I was like so tired, like, you know, the hangry tired. Yeah, not letting my emotions get the best of me, still recognizing that I needed to tend to that part of me. I needed to get physical rest. I needed to feel comfortable emotionally in order to show up with good energy to do this podcast, and still being able to show up for my commitment. So it might mean that I did it at a later time, I changed my plan, but I am not neglecting how I felt, and I actually took care of it. To be able to do that, you need to have space. You need to have allowance for change. Because if you're so fixated on your timeline, your structure, then you won't be able to do this, and you will literally beat yourself up for not doing it. So knowing your own triggers and how to respond to them as well, like when somebody says a certain thing, or when you are scrolling and you always see a certain person that triggers you, that is, again, soft boss does not get swept up in that or spin out. You might feel initially that emotion, but again, soft boss is able to self-regulate and not respond to that or spin out. Soft boss self-celebrates, and soft boss is able to recognize her own strengths and weaknesses. So you can recognize when it is time to delegate something, and this is more to do with management or self-management, and stay in your zone of genius. Imagine like you are your own management. Imagine you are your own agent, and you are directing yourself for the strengths that you see. Like, Nicole, you are so great at doing this, you should stay here, and you are probably not great at that, let's give that to someone else. Self-manage. That is what soft boss does, because it means that you are honoring your strengths, you're leaning into them, and you're allowing those things to shine, and you're not stepping into somebody else's role that could do it better. Or if you're not hiring a team yet, perhaps it's just recognizing that you're going to be a little bit slower, so you need to allow more time and space to develop and grow in these areas. Self-management always means, like, I think, validating your own emotions and allowing yourself the space to feel and process them. And in the beginning, it takes a bit of time, takes some tools and understanding how, but with practice, doing it over and over again, you're able to really like get quicker and quicker. I literally had a conversation with a girl this weekend about journaling, and how journaling has in fact changed my life. But in the beginning, I used to stare at the blank page and be like, what the heck do I write? These days, I know how to write. I know what to write and how to self-explore depending on what my goal is for that journaling session. Whereas in the beginning, you're gonna be like, I don't know what the heck to write. I don't even know what I'm thinking about. And you're not used to identifying your thoughts. So it's recognizing that ability is actually something that's strengthened with practice and over time. So time, focus, and schedules. In this category, it's about spacing out your timelines and being realistic with your expectations. It's working with your actual capacity and your actual bandwidth as a team, if you have a team, to execute. It's not setting like these unrealistic expectations and overcommitting, but it's actually going, how much time do I have available this week? How much energy do I have at my best energy within each day? So many of my clients, I have to literally teach them, even if you have 10 hours or 5 hours of free time on your calendar, doesn't mean you need to fill them with work, because sometimes that 5-hour total, maybe like 50% of that time is actually time that you need to be resting because it's at the end of the day or it's in the middle of the day when you haven't had a break yet. Ask yourself literally, where does this free block of time fall on my calendar and why am I trying to fill it? Like, does it need to be filled? Is it actually more productive to do nothing in that time and to rejuvenate, recover, rest, whatever? And recognize how long it takes to do a launch. Recognize how long it takes to create one content piece and how you feel when you're creating it, because maybe you feel drained after creating a long form content versus you feel really energized after creating a short form one. Like, recognize these nuances in yourself and within whoever works in your team, if you have a team, and allow your business and your structures to flow differently based on those differences. You really don't have to keep up with anyone else. Just keep up with yourself and build a good workflow. Let it be okay for things and deadlines and tasks and projects to take more time than you anticipated. This doesn't mean that you slack off or that you don't set like schedules and deadlines for your projects, but it means you allow that if it needs to take more time, that's okay. Because funnily enough, for the women who are listening to this podcast and the clients that I tend to work with, we always bite off more than we can chew. And that's just a trait of a hustle girly, a girly who is recovering from the hustle. So recognize when it is okay to let it take more time for the sake of preserving quality of the experience. Have lots of time and space on your hands to create, to rest, and to receive brilliant ideas. That is also a huge one when it comes to time, focus, and having good schedules. I honestly feel like this category of being able to self-manage and self-regulate really boils down to that point. It's just having more space. The soft boss is not moving so fast that it's just overwhelming all the time, right? We always have space to think. We always have space to be inspired. And what I love about soft boss is, and we're going to talk about this in the next few dot points, is the reason why creativity flows is because your cup is always full. You're not constantly draining and tipping it out. And when you have, you know, those moments where like you're on a hike or when you're in the shower and there's like ample space to just like think about anything, that's when your best ideas come. That's where flow state is activated. So recognize that importance of space. So now, value-centered vision for your business and your lifestyle. So as it says in the title itself, value-centered, meaning firstly, you need to know your core values and when they have changed as well, and your sole purpose and mission in the industry. Design your business around these. This comes down to the category of like leadership principles and style. Within this area is also, when you have clear values, you know how to lead yourself. You know what to say yes to, what you say no to. You also know how to lead your team, because every single company is top down. Your values will be definitely projected into your leadership style, which then affects your team, which then affects your community. So leading yourself and knowing your core values and your sole purpose is going to help you so much to make the right decisions, especially with things like collaborators. While collaborations are great, sometimes we say yes to too many people and it dilutes our mission. Sometimes we are trying to collaborate with everyone because we think they would be great and whatever, but it's not actually aligned. It's not actually, if we really think about it, the value system is not actually in alignment. So allowing yourself to do that. Another one is people-centered operations. Soft girl is here to nurture and to lead through guidance and nurturing. So when you are raising a team, or particularly maybe working with clients, let's say, your operations, your logistics, your decisions around your offerings, your business are there to serve them. It's people-centered. It humanizes them and allows them to grow, to unlock their potential, to discover new things about themselves. And it's not just this transactional exchange. And I think a soft boss who really leans into this aspect gets to build a really unique product that stands out, because again, it is people-centered. And as you know, with business, anything that is people-centered will definitely grow and go a long way in the industry. When it comes to processes, it comes down to making decisions that serve your clients and community always, rather than your own agenda. Again, it's not like to people please, it's knowing that balance of, is this decision coming out of my scarcity, or is this decision coming out of service for the clients, for the people? Or asking yourself the question, how does this decision help to serve my people? How does selling this offer or building this funnel, how does it help to serve more people being helped? And those are the kind of questions that you want to ask, rather than how much more money can I make? Or what do I need to say to convince somebody to buy? So taking away from that scarcity tactic and going from the angle of service and sufficiency that underpins everything you create and do, that is soft boss era. It's believing that you can make more money by being a better person, by being a more sustainable business, by serving more people rather than convincing more people. You know what I mean? Also, it's about healthy success metrics that integrate both tangible and intangible metrics, meaning you recognize when a win is a win. It's not just about how much money you made this week, but it's maybe if your value is restfulness, then you ask yourself, how much did I rest this week? How well was I able to rest? That is also something to feel success about and to celebrate. Process as well with developing your products and getting results. It means, you know, how I talked about the creativity, the creative energy. When you have a value-centered vision for your business and your lifestyle, you're constantly evolving things so that they are better and so that they consistently work and they consistently get results. But also you're thinking about on a lifestyle level as a soft boss, you're recognizing when, you know, if you have had a life circumstance change, like you've just gone through a breakup or a death in the family, or perhaps you've just had a baby or you're having a baby, you recognize your capacity to actually deliver, and you recognize that things change as you change. So particularly if you're in the early stages of your business where not everything is automated yet, being a soft boss means recognizing those changes and building your business so you can stay present within the life season that you are in, or within the lifestyle preferences you have. For example, for me, I personally, I love having my Friday nights off. I just will not schedule anything after 4 p.m. because Friday nights are for date nights, and I don't care if a client wants to get a call there. It's just a non-negotiable. And so that's a lifestyle goal or a lifestyle reality, let's say, that I have, that I make sure I protect. And because I'm clear that I value that area of my life or my relationship and that Friday date night weekly, then I make sure that I am consistently developing my schedule, my client calls around that, and making sure that I don't dishonor that. When it comes to productivity, being value-centered means viewing rest as productive, because again, a freedom-based business is not just about how much money you make, but it's about the ease and the enjoyment that comes with it. And when you are not resting, or when you're viewing rest as lazy, which is so common for my clients, it is so detrimental to your longevity. Productivity as well, I guess it's about making space to be in flow, knowing what your flow triggers are, spacing your environment, your friendship circles, your inspiration around your flow, and structuring your day with lots of opportunity to be in flow, or your week as well. Yeah, so these are some of the qualities of that value-centered vision for your business and lifestyle that constitutes the soft boss era. Okay, are we ready for the final two? Freedom-based goals. So it is very clear in the definition, freedom-based. It's defining your own version of a freedom-based lifestyle. and business and what that looks like specifically for you. For a mom, that might look like having all the time that she can possibly have with her children. For someone like me, let's say, a freedom-based lifestyle right now means being able to travel where I want, whenever I want, for however long I want. So everybody's definition will look different. So define that. It's protecting your priorities and sticking to your own boundaries, having clear goals and able to detach from the outcome or the how while having clear goals in mind. It's normalizing changes and pivots. I touched on this a lot in the earlier segment of the soft girl. In terms of freedom structures, this is about recognizing your team or your own bandwidth to execute on certain skills, on the capacity and the time factor, recognizing that a soft boss does not push where a button should not be pushed. It's recognizing like there are going to be seasons where your business just isn't as strong at something, especially for you're in the building stage or in the newer stage. It's recognizing that, like, say for a lot of my clients, you don't have a high demand yet, and not ignoring that or chucking a pity party about it, but just going, well, how do I create the demand, but in a way that's enjoyable to me, rather than getting stuck in the how and then putting yourself in that pity party loop, right? So recognize the bandwidth, recognize where you are, and then build your systems based on what's realistic. So recognize when it's time to have a structure and when it's time to let go of a structure. Have a clear or very intuitive pulse on what is aligned and what's no longer aligned, including collaborations. I talked about this in my previous episode about how there are many times that I felt like collaborations don't align, and being a soft boss means being able to recognize when it's not, and then having that hard conversation rather than just pushing through it because X amount of money is on the line, or you might lose X amount of clients or potential visibility. It's recognizing that the most in-service thing that you can do for yourself, your business, and the people you're trying to help is to sometimes call it quits on that alignment, or not quits, but to discontinue that partnership, because of the alignment or lack of. An aspect of freedom-based goals, or the freedom aspect of business without hustle, and what soft boss looks like, is learning a lot more about flow state, which is more of that optimal state of mind, that optimal brain state that helps you tap into quality work and complete focus, and being able to really be effortless and seamless. Flow happens in bursts, and if you know anything about the flow cycle, if you have not checked out the flow cycle training, you can definitely check that out in the description as well, or on my website in the free-resources, so nicoleconcepcion.co/free-resources, where I do have a training for you to understand flow cycle. But understanding flow a lot more will help you recognize like when it is okay to just like not do anything because you're just not in that optimal brain state, as well as how to get yourself into optimal brain state so that you can create at a better quality, right? It's having strong structures and systems that support you in your business. And when you have that support, your time gets freed up and your energy gets freed up, meaning you get to create at a better quality and be more in that feminine flow. And sometimes that requires you to build effective systems, automations, processes, hire experts, learn things in the beginning, and then be able to step back. Sometimes it's like an investment. Like in the beginning of a business building journey, you have to invest. You have to put in some level of work, some level of efforting, but the goal is to create more of that freedom after you've laid the groundwork. Okay, so recognize when it's time to build a system. For example, for me, I didn't have a content system for so long, and while I enjoyed the intuitive process of posting whenever, when I had seasons where I just couldn't and I wasn't inspired, my business wasn't making money because nothing was going out. So I now have a system, I now have a process, I now am able to be supported by that automation, that workflow in my content. If that is something that you're curious about, by the way, I am potentially going to be releasing my Notion template in the next couple of months. So let me know in the comments or in the DM on Instagram if that's something that interests you, because I would love to know if content workflow is something that you lack and perhaps is a system you want to know how to build but you don't know where to start in terms of making that workflow a little bit more streamlined and effortless. Okay, the lucky last. I know we have been going at it, but there's a lot here, and as you can tell, a business without hustle is very complex, but at the same time it also gets to be very simple. And I say that because if you just think of that iceberg analogy that I always use, it's about learning to balance the internal work with the external work. And Soft Boss Era, as you are probably gathering by now, is all about the internal work and making a bridge into guiding how you do your external work, how you build a certain strategy. So your soft boss is really heavily dependent on your internal work. Okay? Because the only way you're going to truly make a change and truly step out of hustle is to begin to recognize when you are not honestly working on the internal work. And I see this so much in this particular category, which is the balanced feminine and masculine energy. You see, so many of us are saying, I'm in my soft boss era now, and we're putting on this soft boss or soft girl energy by like doing the things that are on the outside. They're soft girly things. They're like self-care dates and reading a book and going to the beach at sunrise. We are putting on the show. We're doing it, right? But some of us are still feeling exhausted despite doing that. Why? Because we've not really understood the intention. We are doing the actions, but we're not really changing our thoughts. We're not really changing our identity. Our identity is still hustle. I see this a lot for myself when I started to apply what soft boss really meant, and I noticed how easy it was for me to clear half my day and go to the beach, and yet my mind was still like, I need to do XYZ things, or my body still held so much guilt and judgment for the fact that I wasn't doing things. And so what would happen is when I re-enter my work, I would be hustling because in my mind I was like, I have to catch up on all the work that I missed because of me gallivanting around the beaches and posting pictures of my coffee. So it's just recognizing when you are just putting on the show versus actually being in your balanced masculine and feminine. So what does that look like in terms of energy dynamics? Well, I do teach a lot more on feminine and masculine energy, which I actually do have a training for as well. So check out the free-resources webpage on my website, and you can sign up for that training too, where I talk about that duality and what they actually consist of. But embracing the duality and polarity of these two energies means allowing your business to have its masculine moments and its feminine moments, allowing yourself as an entrepreneur to ebb and flow between these two as well. And it's also allowing your business to receive from itself. So allowing your business to tell you what it needs. And while that does sound kind of strange, essentially what it means is taking enough time and space to actually evaluate and think about what your business is showing you. What is the data telling you? What are your customers telling you? And taking that as an intuitive sign or a guidance for how to make it better or how to make a decision that is going to serve your business better than if you were to just like take somebody else's strategy or take what somebody told you is working in the industry. It's kind of like, you know, a doctor diagnosing you with something without actually doing the diagnosis on you and putting his stethoscope on your chest and everything. It's like him saying, okay, you've told me, but here, from what I know, here's the thing that you need to take, and just medicates you, rather than taking the time to go, let's do some x-rays, let's do some scans, let's do a stethoscope thingy. Like, I don't know the term, but you know what I mean. So it's an internal diagnosis rather than what the consensus is feeling and what's trending and just going and jumping on that bandwagon. It's also learning the balance between pleasure and rest, because pleasure is very feminine and rest is very feminine. It's to do with receiving and allowing and being, rather than masculine is to do with doing. One of my favorite statements actually that helps me know the difference is that masculine is very action focused and very forward moving, whereas feminine is about allowing yourself to be and just getting out of your own way. Because again, if you're used to recognizing that masculine as more productive or more beneficial or the only way to grow a business, then you're going to have a hard time with accepting that you resting could actually be growing your business, that you being creative today could actually grow your business tenfold, rather than you hustling away trying to post 10 content pieces that are just not serving you, right? So recognizing what season your business is in, and knowing like if there is, you know, if you've got a launch, then preparing within the timeline of the launch to have a good setup, a good runway for you to have a lot of space and creativity during the launch, rather than doing things last minute and trying to create while you should have already created early all of your funnel content, your emails. You should have built all of that early and then allow yourself space to rest. While everyone does launch differently, and this example is specifically for a live launch, I think it's so important to recognize like when you are in that like extreme push all the time, because after the launch, before the launch, during the launch, like you're just constantly in push mode, and that gets exhausting. So you can only really sustain that for a short amount of time before feeling like stuff, this is not it, right? Again, it's also about communication. So the soft girl expresses her feelings and doesn't hold back on her authentic thoughts. Same thing with soft boss. It's about having hard conversations, communicating what you need to say, meaning if your clients are not pulling their weight, or if their payments are late, or you just need to have hard conversations anywhere in your business, you're not overthinking them or making them personal. You're just communicating effectively, meaning you might need to learn some good communication tools, which is why I actually teach communication tools and language pattern shifts to make in order to foster deeper connections, or in order to sell without feeling sleazy. These language tools that I teach are not just something I throw around. Practices, these tools are ways to be effective leaders without pushing, without having to use manipulation, like so many business models have taught us. Role models, sorry. So community as well, in that aspect, it's recognizing that you need community, you need support, and you don't do it all on your own out of hyper independence. In fact, you recognize that doing it on your own is actually a disservice. So that is a huge aspect of this, because it's one thing to know that you can do something within your power, or to be like, I just want to learn how to do everything. It's another thing to actually be exhausted and still be pushing to try to do everything, because you have pride that you don't want to mess up, right? Or pride that you need to have to do it all on your own. Like, it's the pride bit or the ego bit that you know, okay? And the final point is about imagination, creativity, and play. Being creative, tapping into your own brain, your own solution, your ideas that will shake up the industry. It's standing out by being your magnetic self, authentic self, not just hiding behind your knowledge or your skill or your expertise in your business, but also as yourself, your own experiences, your own personality. I see this so much being diluted in our content, because we're so much in our consuming state, like constantly consuming other creators, that we're not being thought leaders, we're not being unique, we're not being independent. One of my favorite TikToks recently that I came across was this girl talking about how much we are not familiar with who we are, because we're so influenced by all these other creators. Like, how much of your perception of the world today is influenced by the American perception, because maybe all the creators you consume are American, or perhaps your value system about money or your value system about relationships is affected by your top listened 2 to 3 podcast episodes about relationships. So it's recognizing that it's okay to consume, but knowing when to pull away, and when you are creating for your business or your brand, that you're pulling from yourself and niching into yourself, rather than trying to be like other creators or adopting their perception or perspectives on certain topics. Form your own opinions about things. Be a thought leader. Shake up your industry based on your own ideas and experiences, and don't just rely on consuming to inspire you. You are capable of inspiring yourself by not even needing to scroll, not even needing to see what other people are doing. And I guarantee you, if you were to like isolate yourself for 30 days minimum, you would find that you actually have so much creative potential that has not been touched. And that's what's going to shake up the industry. That's what's going to differentiate you in the marketplace, and that is your creative authority. I want you to recognize just how powerful that could be for your brand, your business, your clients, when you allow yourself to step into that space, okay? So as we have covered today, the soft boss era is a very complex yet very beautiful web of self-concept identity, ability to self-regulate and manage your focus and time. It's value-centric vision for your business and your lifestyle. It's freedom-based goals and structures, and it's balanced feminine and masculine energy. Soft boss era is here, it's now, and I invite you to step into your version of what this looks like. In my workshop, Business Without Hustle, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be diving in to the tangibles and the intangibles of business without hustle, and I'm going to be talking about these concepts that I have introduced to you today. And really, the soft boss era, it's a lifestyle. It's not just an end result that we're trying to get. This is a lifestyle, a way of doing business and experiencing your life with so much more freedom and ease and joy and longevity. And it's about making impact and income in a way that's so much more sustainable and so much more enjoyable. So if this is something that you are interested in, if this episode resonated with you, or you want to learn how to step into your soft boss era and you really just don't know where to start, check out that Business Without Hustle webinar, because that's the first place I will always direct you to, because it's going to help you understand like what is this Business Without Hustle system and how do you adapt it to your business so that you actually experience your business in a way that is so much more fun, enjoyable, without compromising your income, your clients, your cash flow, and building a business that basically works. So if that is you, go check that out. And thank you once again for watching this video episode. And if you're on the audio, thank you. Love you all so much. I'll see you in my next episode. Bye. If you want to take your abundance to another level, I want to help you. I'm a life and business coach for women who want to step into their next level by activating wealth from the inside out. To help you take your first step to unlocking true abundance and your aligned potential, I'm giving you free resources, workshops, and masterclasses that you can access on demand right now. Check out www.nicoleconception.co/free-resources to get your hands on it. For more videos like this, check out the other playlists and series I have on this channel, and don't forget to hit subscribe to be notified whenever I drop a new video. And if you're more of the podcast type, check out Freedom in Flow, where I dive even deeper into the concepts that will help you create less hustle and more flow, abundance, and alignment in your life and business. Now, if you're a reader, you'll want to subscribe to my email list for unfiltered, honest, and most importantly, applicable life upgrades. Now, don't be a stranger. Connect with me on Instagram and TikTok and send me a message. I love getting to know you and your story. It's why I do this. Okay, my lovely, that's all for now. I'll see you soon. Signing off, Nicole.